It's time for the longest-running student show on KLPR, Throwin Lopes. Let's send it to the KLPR studios for your one-stop shop for all things Loper Athletics.
Well, howdy, and welcome back to another edition of Throwin Lopes here, the longest-running student show on 91.1 FM KLPR. Also, live on our YouTube. What are we laughing about, fellas?
Howdy!
So awesome.
Howdy, yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with a little howdy?
Yeah.
I just caught me off guard, Omaha.
Thank you. But anyways, you can not only listen along on 91.1 FM KLPR or the TuneIn app, you can watch along on our YouTube channel, KLPR Radio. Is where you can find our YouTube channel. Don't forget to go vote on the Twitter poll question at KLPR911 on Twitter. Who would look best in a dress? The winner, in this case, loser, will have to wear a dress on next week's show. And you can watch along with that fun festivities on our YouTube channel. So go vote at KLPR911. I would appreciate if everybody would go and vote. Me especially. It would be near and dear to my heart if you went and voted on the Twitter poll question. Let's get into it. Loper football was on the road against the number one offense in the league this last week against Central Missouri. Once again, Lopers were ended in the first half. We're only down 17-7 at the break. But then a big second half from Central Missouri. They end up winning it 38-14. Some good things from the Lopers once again, but offense just wasn't enough once again for UNK.
434 yards and only missed 18 passes, and he got sacked only once the whole entire game. How about that? When you can get a pocket like that can throw a ball, and you throw 5 touchdowns, and
Are you saying Zabrowski?
What?
Zabrowski?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 5 touchdowns. He accounted for every single touchdown that Central Missouri scored in some aspect this last weekend, and the Lopers really could not do anything. That secondary, quite frankly, to say it nicely, got torched. Okay, they did. They kind of got torched this last weekend.
First half, no. Second half, they didn't get any help from the
Overall,
offense.
though.
Overall, yes, but
34 yards is getting torched.
But okay, here's the big thing, though. How many times was that in a short field position where UNK had an opportunity offensively and then just handed it over to them? We're looking at 3 TJ Davis interceptions and 2 missed Gabe Hines field goals here. The missed amount of opportunities from the offense to put points on the board is what really put UNK behind the 8 ball. The defense in the first half had us in the game. It was 17-7 at half. And the offense was going to need to have something in the second half if they wanted to have a very respectable contest. In the second half, what they did, interception, missed field goal, interception.
How many of those touchdowns were scored with less than 50 yards of field to work with for UCM?
I should know because I did the story on it, but I
right.
don't quite know. But I know, because 3 TJ Davis interceptions. That's just not going to get it done, unfortunately, for UNK. But just to add on to that point, it was a lot of yards, but to put it into perspective, it was on 56 attempts. They threw the ball an incredible amount against a kind of beat-up Loper secondary. Mentioned they didn't get Trey O'Gwyn for the first half. They were missing some guys, and so just to put that a little bit into perspective.
UCM had three of their 5 scoring drives resulted in plays that or yardages of 75 yards or more. Their first scoring drive, which came in the first quarter, was 4 plays, 75 yards. Their next one that was over 75 yards came in the third, 16 plays, 80 yards. And then their one in the fourth was 6 plays, 95 yards.
So 2 touchdowns that were scored with less than 50 yards of field.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's not as lopsided as I thought it was going to be with 3 interceptions. They were all thrown pretty much past midfield.
I think that's what was most frustrating, I think, for the Lopers is the fact that they had moments where they could move the ball.
Yes.
And then turnovers just kind of plagued them once again. It's a frustrating time right now for the offense because you can feel it getting close, but it's still just not quite there.
And as that's the thing is that you get those strides, but then it just continues to be cut down. You would think by now you would start to get some things down. I was disappointed in the fact that it felt like we had taken some taken some strides forward in the Washburn game. It's like we took a step forward, and it felt like we took a step back, maybe 2 steps back against Central Missouri this week, and that's how I felt offensively.
That's the number one offense and one of the top-ranked teams in the country.
It is. But
those are two very different teams.
But the thing is, though, with the amount of mistakes that we made in the game against Central Missouri, it's unacceptable in essence. It's unacceptable in any game, but you still have that where you make positive strides, but then you regress in a sense, and that's how I kind of felt after this game. I feel that if we stay kind of just midline after Fort Hays, I am very concerned at this point if the play stays the way that it was this past week against Fort Hays next week.
Yeah, it's just like looking at it on paper, 38 points off of 3 interceptions to the number one offense and passing offense in the MIAA. Just looking at that on paper, I was like, okay, we turned the ball over 3 times, and we were in it. And then we just let them run away with it. I was like, 38 points off of 3 turnovers isn't losing by that much, all things considered. It's an annoying way to lose a game. It's a frustrating way to lose a game. But just, we've seen this UCM offense hang 50 multiple times already this season. So in my eyes, the Lopers didn't play poorly defensively. I mean, when 2 of those touchdowns coming on a short field, that really is kind of the difference in that one.
I think it was optimistic, too, that the Lopers ran the ball for 154 yards. I know there wasn't like one big leading rusher. And the fact that TJ Davis only ran for 32 yards and the Lopers still gained 154 through the ground, that was very optimistic to see, averaging 3.5 yards per carry. So, again, the Loper offense moved it. You take away all the turnovers, it's probably a much different ballgame, but it's kind of a similar script to every loss that we've seen, at least in the past couple of games with Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern. The fact that Loper defense kept them in it in the first half, and then second half, you can only ask them to do so much.
And you missed 2 field goals. That should be makes at this level. You turn it over 3 times. You make those 2 field goals, 18-point game. You give up those 2 touchdowns, or probably 3 touchdowns off of those interceptions. It's a closer game than it should have been because the Lopers shot themselves in the foot 5 times with 2 missed field goals and 3 interceptions.
So it's just, I guess, a question of you take those away, and these games probably start to turn. It's just they keep happening. So how do we eliminate all these mistakes, especially this far into the season?
Well, it goes back to the 1 step forward, 2 steps that I kind of saw from last week. We kind of brought back a little bit of the TJ Davis from years past with the triple option in a sense. This week, kind of we pulled the reins back a little bit on that.
They did try it a lot.
They did try it, yes.
They tried it.
They did try
Central
it.
Missouri just had it sniffed out.
Yeah. But, it's like if you go back to more of that, I think, where it's not you expect to see the pass air raid attack first, and then when you see TJ doing something a little different, then it's like, okay, they're going back to the old triple option, and they know how to go up against that. I think that was the other thing, is that if you can incorporate that a little bit more going through the rest of the year, I think that'll help out, is if you can kind of keep them on their toes, that helps out if you do both styles of offense going forward, I think.
Any other final thoughts on Loper football?
I'm not an expert. I'm not a football coach. I'm not anything. In my eyes, seeing the way that this passing game has been struggling, to say the least, TJ Davis already has almost twice as many interceptions this season than he has in any season previously. I feel like you got to pull the reins back on the pass attack. Let that take over maybe next year. Because we saw this, Sean Johnson is more than capable as a passer in this contest as well. Small sample size, 4 for 5, but I feel like you got to go back to going run first and waiting for a look you like, maybe checking the play at the sideline when you get a passing look that you like, instead of going pass heavy first right out of the gun. Again, not a coach, not an expert, just my thought.
I agree.
To tie along with that, you've got a lot of running backs in that room. You can easily keep some fresh legs in there. Zane Schwong, you've got Demarius Hosey, You've got Sean Johnson who can come in, Jamal Joseph, Tamakis Napier. I mean, you've got guys that you can easily change out, get some fresh legs in there. You can carry the load and, divide it amongst a group of 4 or 5 guys. It doesn't just have to be TJ. So I would agree. But, yeah, I mean, Sean Johnson, 4 for 5, he did throw a touchdown too. And he did have 2 rushes for 15 yards. So you got to look at that as well.
Just the final thought about that is the fact that if they didn't switch things up after how the season has gone already, I don't think they're going to switch it up now. There's been 6 games played already. They got 5 games left. We're over halfway through the season, and so I think what is happening is going to stick. And I think again, they're close. It seemed that they've been close these last couple of weeks. It's just converting on a couple more of those big plays, eliminating turnovers, and Lopers might figure some things out. Lopers back in action against their rival Fort Hays this Saturday. That's a 1 p.m. kickoff. You can listen on 93.1 The River with Jason Jorgensen and Brandon Bennett's 106.9 in Kearney. You can watch along on the MIAA network.
Will Alex Hammeke be in attendance?
I unfortunately will not.
Oh.
I have a wedding.
Our correspondent. Wow, they
should
have planned this around you.
No, not around me.
They didn't ask him?
Well, okay, here's the thing.
First of all, Saturday wedding in fall.
No,
terrible.
Hold on a second. It's the Huskers bye week, and that's the reason why they picked it.
Okay.
She wanted the wedding during the fall, and he was like, okay, deal, but it has to be this weekend because there's no Husker football.
I wonder how many weddings in Nebraska are happening this weekend.
Oh, my God.
A lot.
That should be a statistic that we track.
Just because of the Husker.
That would be hilarious. Yeah. Football talk, John.
Yeah. So again, 1 p.m. kickoff on Saturday. Lopers looking to bounce back on the road. Loper Soccer had a split at home this weekend. You heard both games on 91.1 FM KLPR. Lopers dropped it 2-0 to Central Oklahoma this weekend, and then dominated Newman on Sunday 4-0. 4 different players with a goal: Katie Pagel, Ivana Siles, Cammie Davis, and Reagan Downs. All around a good game for the Lopers. Susie Bovard pitches a shutout as well, so an impressive afternoon in Loperville.
What a dominant day it was. They were clicking on all cylinders. They had this one long pass they were trying to hit throughout the day, and I knew that once that started clicking, it was going to start going right, and it eventually did for 2 of those goals, I believe. But Coach Breton said it was a complete team win. You score off set pieces, you score because the offense is executing passes. It was fun to watch. You get a rebound goal from Cammie Davis because everybody's crashing the net, and it was just so fun to watch this Loper soccer team finally start turn the key on the offense, turn the ignition on, and get to cooking. Most goals scored in the contest since 2015 with 4, 5th time in Loper history.
Man, we doubled our wins from last year. That feels good to see 2 wins in the win column. But they've got 4 straight contests on the road: Rogers State, Northeastern State, and Central Mo and Missouri Southern. So they're going to have their work cut out for them. But like you said, they can use this, get the momentum. They could steal a couple of these games on the road. They've got tough ones, though. These are ones where it's going to be kind of where your program's at. How can you rebound after this win, carry the momentum, and it'll be interesting to see how these next 4 games turn out.
I see 3 winnable games. Northeastern State's on a down year. Missouri Southern has kind of struggled overall. And I think
is putting it lightly.
And Rogers State, I think, they're a winnable game. I think Central Missouri's still a bit out of reach for us. I think at 9-2-1 and receiving votes, if not ranked already in the United Soccer Coaches Poll Association, or Coaches Association poll, I should say. But I think it's 3 winnable games this weekend, not this weekend, but throughout the road stretch: at Tahlequah, at Joplin, at Claremore. And you compete the best you can in Warrensburg, I think.
And I think that first UCM game that they played is one that they kind of look back on, and it was a frustrating one that whole weekend where they allowed a bunch of goals. That was that was Emporia State. Never mind. Excuse me.
But it's still kind of shows to the turnaround effect that we've seen.
Yes.
Because last weekend, draws against Mo West and Northwest Missouri. You fall to Central Oklahoma on Friday, and then on Sunday you get the victory against Newman. It's kind of like breaking through the glass ceiling in essence, I would say. You've felt where the lows are in this season, and now you are starting to feel where the highs are, I think. And we're starting to get to that point where you're climbing up, and it's going to be it looks very promising from right now here for Loper soccer.
Let's put it in perspective. Newman is very bad.
True, yes.
They are very
Not
bad.
the worst.
They're not the worst, but they are not good. That was a big win, but I think winning 3 out of 4 is kind of a tall ask for a team that just won their first conference game in 2 years. Again, their last one came in October of 2021 against that same Newman Jets team. The Newman game has always been the one kind of circled on the schedule where it's like, yeah, that's going to be the one we are at least going to be in that game. But Coach Breton talked to me before it. He said these are the kinds of games he expects this year to kind of – these are the games that'll be close wins for us. Next year, we're going to dominate games like these and start to be in some of those upper-tier games, start to be in those ones. And then year 3 is when he kind of expects to be one of those top teams. And so it's a step in the right direction for sure, but there is still a lot of work to be done, I think.
If they can execute the way they did against Newman, I think they're in all of these games and they're not getting shut out. I think that's the important thing. I am with Alex on this one. I see 3 winnable games. I see 4 games they are in if they can execute offensively against UCM, which is a tall task. But the way this team is playing and the way that they're playing for each other right now, I fully believe that UNK can be in all these games and should expect to be in these games if they want to start turning the table just mentality-wise.
They'll have to do the back half of that stretch without Ivana Siles. She has been called up to the Bolivian senior team. She will be taking part in the 2023 Pan American Games, which are being held this year in Chile, Santiago, Chile, from October 20th to November 5th. So there will be a bit of a stretch there, depending on how long the Bolivian national team competes, that they will be without her. And she was, as mentioned, one of the goal scorers, and she was one of the gals who we have seen a lot of upswing from this season. So it makes it a little bit tougher with that Missouri Southern, Central Missouri stretch. But again, you're getting up there to this level at the program where you have high-level players, you have winnable games on the schedule. It's much better of a taste in my mouth with this Loper soccer team now than where we were 2 years ago when we were talking a conference victory.
Yeah, and I think we saw just how dominant the UNK defense can be when the offense isn't, forcing them to make every play at every moment of every game. And so I think you really got to see just how dominant a Loper defense can be. And so that I think was that wasn't talked about as much, but I think that was key as well, because when you give your defensemen a little bit of a breather, not having to be in their defensive zone all game, good things like that happen when you have the defenseman that UNK has.
And that was one of the fun times in that post game, because I wanted to talk about the defense for Coach Brennan. I said, Coach Brennan, what do you think about the way the defense played? He said the defense played the way they're supposed to play. They played the way they've been playing. I want to talk about how the defense finally gave how the offense didn't let the defense down, essentially, and the defense played the way they needed to, and the offense was finally able to start clicking. So this defense for the Lopers is stout. It's just setting up opportunities on offense.
So again, the Lopers in action, at Rogers State on Friday at 7 p.m. and then at Northeastern State on Sunday at 1 p.m. You can watch both of those games on the MIAA network. Well, taking a look now at Loper volleyball, they had a pair of sweeps this week: Missouri Western, Northwest Missouri, and Fort Hays. Northwest definitely not the team they were last year after going on their incredible run, but a couple big wins. But the big matchups come up this next week.
Yeah, I think, you've got a big game against Central Missouri, Missouri Southern, but then next Tuesday, the Lopers have had that game circled on their calendar since they lost to them back on September 15th on the road, and now they've got them at home. And I think they're they're clicking. They've got a lot of things clicking right now. But I do want to mention, I think we're seeing the emergence of Mia Berg. I've really been impressed with how she's been playing lately. She had 10 kills against Northwest Missouri State, and I think we're starting to see that freshman really rise up. She's not playing like a freshman. She's playing like an upperclassman, and she's hanging with Emerson Siza and Jane Ferguson, and I'm sure Rick Squires feels pretty good knowing he's got more than 1 or 2 hitters that can go out there and dominate.
Berg probably is so far MIAA Freshman of the Year material, I'd imagine. I watched the first set of the match against Fort Hays State last night, and they were, as you had mentioned, Ethan, clicking on all cylinders. The thing that got me was on Friday against Missouri Western. I think that Missouri Western is a team that, as I've mentioned previously, they're on the rise with Jessica Fee. You give them another year or two, they will be in the AVCA poll. They will be in contention for the Central Region. And UNK went through in all 3 sets. Now, Missouri Western didn't make it easy, but it was a 3-set victory. That was the one matchup this weekend that I was thinking that would maybe go to 4, potentially 5, but a really good showing from the Lopers here this weekend.
Yeah, it's always good to beat up on Fort Hays. None of those were close, so just wanted to point that out to Alex. That
the first set, I mean, I get it. You know, it's hate on Alex week. It's Fort Hays the game, but I mean,
That's every week.
I know, I get it.
That's just mean.
Thank you, Traeton. Thanks for sticking up for me, buddy. But you know, the first set was somewhat okay for Fort Hays.
When you compare it to the last 2.
But then Fort Hays crumbled and they fell apart. And I think they kind of realized, okay, the sooner that this gets over, the sooner that I can get home and do some sort of homework. I think that might have been the mentality for Fort Hays at the end.
For reference, 25-16, 25-9, 25-8.
Yeah, scores you never really see in college volleyball unless it's the cream of the crop versus the bottom of the barrel.
So that's what we saw.
Yeah.
Go Tigers.
I get it. Fort Hays State volleyball sucks, okay? I understand.
Jeez.
What?
But again, big matchup coming up against Tuesday against Washburn. Lopers have lost 6 straight in that series. They are looking for their first win over the Ichabods since October 15th of 2019.
So we haven't won a game against Washburn in the post-COVID era.
Correct,
That's
yes.
a good way to say it.
Yeah.
Post-COVID, Joe Biden presidency. Hey, they're both. I use presidents as historical markers.
None of
okay?
us were at this institution the last time they won.
Exactly.
Yes.
There we go.
None of us.
That's a
yeah.
good way to put it, yeah.
I was a JUCO. I was in college at least,
was
in
in
that
high school.
sense. But yeah.
So again, Central Missouri at 6 p.m. on Friday, Missouri Southern at 2 p.m. on Saturday, and Washburn at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. All of those matchups at home. All of those matchups can be heard on 91.1 FM KLPR or the TuneIn app. We'll be excited to be bringing you Loper Volleyball. The UNK women's golf team hosted an event this last week, the Nebraska Intercollegiate. They finished first out of 6th with a score of 643, and Brooke King won the individual as well with shooting 12 over 156. Also, Allison Comer was the runner-up.
You host your first home event since 2019. You come out, take advantage. I mean, it just has to feel good. You have to imagine this one's been circled on the calendar for a couple of years now for the Loper golf team, with just how few opportunities there have been to host anything at home. And so to come out, dominate the way they did on a windy, frankly, horrible Friday for golf, and to come out, shoot low, because that was the best day Brooke King had. She shot a 74 on the windy, horrible day, and then just dealing with it, coming out and winning on your home course. It's got to feel good. Happy for this golf team.
If you're a Nebraska golfer and you're in the state here, if you're wanting to stay in the state of Nebraska, this is a tremendous recruiting advantage for Sean Rodehorse and company. Because you can be, you can go to Wayne State. Sure, you can go to Concordia or to Hastings or Doane. But do you want to golf with them or do you want to golf with the state champs? The state champs versus the state chumps. Who do you want to golf with? The champs.
Wayne State did finish 3rd and 4th individually in this event as well.
That's what I was just about to say. It's always nice beating Wayne State, but I will say...
Yeah, why can't we hate on Wayne more? It's always Hayes.
Because we don't play them.
Okay, fair. We played him for Volleyball Day in Nebraska.
Oh, the exhibition match that didn't count?
We still played him.
It was cool.
That putter
And
for
we also
Brooke
got
King
swept.
might have been cooking, though. I will say that putter for Brooke King, she had 19 pars, and she finished her second round. She had 8 straight pars. That is talking about feeling your golf game. That's about as feeling your golf game as you can probably get. She was cooking out there on the course. Like you said, the conditions weren't good. golfing in Nebraska, especially at this time of year, is not ideal. You never know what you're going to get. You could get days like yesterday where it's beautiful, or 45 degrees and winds blowing out of the north at 30 miles an hour. So it's kind of pick your poison. But they weathered the storm, and they looked pretty good.
Women's golf team back in action October 16th, 17th at the Midwest Classic in Warrensburg, Missouri. One more note for Loper Athletics. No other Loper Athletics in action, but...
Darn.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this wrong, so you correct me because you'll know. But Maxim Kulish... That was pretty close. He has earned a qualifying to the ITA Cup. He joins UNK Hall of Famer William Jacome as the only Loper to reach the ITA Cup and small college championships in the singles. So that'll be cool to watch, both him and Jasmine Zamorano, who will be there.
Yep, and they're on the road to Rome, Georgia. I'm pretty sure as we speak, because the event starts tomorrow, I do believe. So good luck to those two. Bring home some hardware for UNK.
And alongside that, on the softball side of things, the Fall Ball World Series Championship for the Loper softball team is Saturday at 3 p.m. at Dryden. So for anybody who's interested in seeing what the softball team is going to look like, a lot of transfers. I kind of think it's going to be Rosenthal who leads the pitching side of things after losing Thomason, after losing Gaynor. But, you know, if you're interested and if you're available over the weekend, Saturday, 3 o'clock at Dryden for UNK Softball's Fall Ball World Series.
Can you explain, what is that? Is that just like a...
It's the final game of their Fall Ball series. So I was about to say, over the course of the year, or over the course of the spring, they've basically gone up against JUCOs and NAIA schools, and then it all culminates in this weekend, and then you're done with your fall conditioning.
So who are they playing?
Yeah, so
it's an inter-squad game.
Okay,
it's
that's
inter-squad.
That's where they lost me. I was confused.
Yeah,
about what that was.
My apologies.
The way it was worded, it was like, okay, we're gonna have a little tournament. We're gonna call it the Fall Ball World Series.
No, it's just
the blue-white scrimmage.
It's just the blue-white scrimmage. They just gave a really fancy name.
Still
to it.
exciting.
Yeah.
All right, that'll wrap it up for Loper Athletics. It's time for everybody's least favorite part of the show.
Hey!
Here's the MIAA/NCAA mailbag.
I have one note about the NCAA. Okay, you know what? I'm going to make it 2 notes about the NCAA now. If we really want to get in the weeds here with our former showman Cannon Rath on this one. We'll start off with the MIAA basketball coaches polls. They were released yesterday as part of the MIAA Media Day, which you can watch the entire thing in replay on the MIAA Network. On the women's side, not too big of a surprise. Central Missouri was the number 1 team, followed up by Missouri Western at the 2. They were the only 2 teams to receive coaches poll votes on this one. Pittsburgh State was 3, Fort Hays 4, Missouri Southern 5, and UNK clocking in at number 6. 7 through 10 go as follows: 7 for Northwest Missouri, 8 for Washburn, and a tie in 9th place between Central Oklahoma and Emporia State. Northeastern State was at 11th, Lincoln 12th, Rogers State 13th, and Newman was at the number 14 spot. On the men's preseason coaches poll, Northwest Missouri was the number 1 team in that one. They took 11 of the 14 coaches' votes. Emporia State 2nd, Fort Hays State 3rd, Central Oklahoma 4th, and Missouri Southern rounded out the top 5. Washburn was at the number 6, Missouri Western, was 7th, Rogers State 8th, Northeastern State 9th, Central Missouri 10th, Pittsburgh State 12th, Lincoln at the number 12 spot, Newman 13, UNK was at the number 14 out of 14, albeit I think with what they've brought in the transfer portal this year, I think that they are primed to be finishing up a couple of spots above where they were placed at the number 14 spot. Let's move on back to the fall sports, where we have football and volleyball polls. In the American Football Coaches Association Div 2 coaches poll, Ferris State is the number 1, followed up by Colorado Mines at the 2, and Pitt State is at the number 3 spot. And now we've got we're taking photos of me now. Let me. I don't have a polo one.
This is really shaky. What? Just leave it.
Okay. Minnesota State Mankato's at the 4. Washington Baptist is at the 5. That wraps out the top 5 in the AFCA poll. Central Missouri jumped up 1 spot to 17 after their defeat of the Lopers. And Emporia State, I was a bit surprised they stayed in the poll this week. I did not have them in the AFCA poll or in my D2football.com poll. They are now at number 25. They take on Washburn in the Turnpike Tussle this weekend. Looking at the AVCA Terraflex Division II Women's Volleyball poll that was released on Monday, the top 10 are all in this, are all in the top 10 from last week. Just a little bit of a shuffle in the back five. Wayne State's at the number 1, like last week. Concordia St. Paul, the Fighting Grant Ties at number 2. Tampa number 3. Missouri St. Louis number 4. West Texas A&M, the Fighting Josh Lynn's at number 5. Metropolitan State of Denver was at the number 6. They jumped up 1 spot. Southwest Minnesota jumping up 1 spot to the number 7. St. Cloud State dropping 2 spots. They were at the number 6 last week. They're now at number 8. UNK for the 3rd straight week in a row stays at number 9. Colorado Mesa is at the number 10. Looking around the league, the Washburn Ichabods dropped 1 spot from 19 to 20 overall, and Central Oklahoma jumped up 1 spot from 22 to 21. Looking at the receiving votes category, 2 teams from the MIAA receiving votes, with Central Missouri tentatively at number 27, Northwest Missouri State a bit further down in the poll. As mentioned, for the NCAA mailbag, and I will go into this in greater detail than I think what Jon Willis would like. The Great Plains Athletic Conference. Nice try there, buddy. You can't. You can't. I was about ready to say fire, but I was meaning to say mute. You can't mute me here.
I think I actually can.
Well,
that's the power I hold.
Okay, that's the power you hold behind the board, but there will be mass protests from yours truly. Let's look at how... Okay, good, I'm still on. Let's look at the Great Plains Athletic Conference, which is the same conference that Hastings College is in. They voted to remove the University of Jamestown, the Jimmies, after this academic year. Jamestown is currently seeking a move to Division II. Now, this is where it matters for the MIAA. For those who are wondering, Alex, why do we care? Wayne State and Augustana, who have been rumored by me, to be potential members joining the MIAA, just received another team that's in the far northern portion of the conference in North Dakota. Jamestown is in Jamestown, North Dakota. They already have to make a drive up to Bismarck for the University of Mary, to Minot for Minot State, and they have to go and make all these trips all the way up north. And you add another northern trip to it. Is this the time, and is this one of the another move that nudges or shoves potentially Wayne State or Augustana into joining the MIAA? Who knows? The reason why I say Augustana in there is because the Vikings are an affiliate member for the MIAA in men's tennis. Meanwhile, Wayne State, you bring them back in, you combine the entire Central States Intercollegiate Conference from the days of old in the 70s and 80s. That includes UNK, Fort Hays, Wayne State, who's in the NSIC, Missouri Western, Missouri Southern, Pitt State, Washburn, and that's basically the Central States Intercollegiate Conference. Also, the NCAA decided to move up the fee that you have to, sign off to monetarily to have you jump from Division II to Division I. Now, it went from $5,000 to $5 million. So inflation hits us all again in the shorts. That means that every school that's been thinking of a move from Division II to Division I, they got to pony up quite a bit more financially, and they got to start thinking a bit more, because now it's not just some measly $5,000 you're throwing down. You're throwing down the big bucks here that you get donors to give to you. That's all for the MIAA mailbag. If you want me to, and I won't call it the MIAA NCAA mailbag. You keep hating on me, and it'll keep being longer. So keep that in the back of your minds there, fellas. What's the time?
6:03.
And we can draw it out longer if we need to.
And I can mute your mic if we need to. Anyways, that'll wrap up the first half of the show. Remember to go vote on Twitter at KLPR911. Who would look best in a dress? Please go vote, because the winner has to wear a dress next week, so I'd really appreciate if you voted. All right, we'll do pick-ems when we come back on Throwin Lopes here on 91.1 KLPR.
Vision fading, immune system compromised, but I must go on.
Mwahaha, you've fallen for my trap, everyman. I, malnutrition, have finally won.
Not so fast, villain. The Vitamin A team is here to put you away. You will carrot in a cell.
Yeah, prepare to be squashed.
You cantaloupe defeat.
Broccoli!
Many Americans fall short in boosting their immune systems. Vitamin A can be one of the easiest and most important keys in helping keep your immune system running strong and fighting off infectious diseases. Foods like squash, broccoli, and carrots that are always available and relatively non-expensive are all rich in vitamin A. My vision has returned and my diseases are gone. Thanks, Vitamin A team. Now let's finish this.
No!
Remember to pick up foods filled with vitamin A at your local supermarket.
Nearly 50% of the American population suffers from a mental illness. We here at UNK know that life in young adulthood can take a toll on one's mental health. Do not feel ashamed, for we know you are not alone. My grandfather recently passed away, and it was really hard for me to focus on my studies. It was killing me. However, deciding to go to the UNK Health and Council building was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
I'm taking 17 credit hours and handling a near full-time job. My anxiety has been shooting through the roof. Thankfully, I was able to get quality counseling at UNK and got back to my routine with a sense of peace.
And I'm able to continue my studies with a smile, just as my grandfather would have intended. You are not alone, and we're here for you at UNK. If you are feeling mentally unwell, we encourage you to visit the UNK Health and Counseling building on campus. Feel free to call us for an appointment at 308-865-8218. That's 308-865-8218.
Welcome you back to Throwin Lopes here on 91.1 KLPR. I'm Jon Willis. I'm joined as always by Ethan McCormick, Traeton Harimon, and Alex Hammeke. Not only on 91.1 FM KLPR, but also the KLPR Radio YouTube channel. Every week we'll be putting this on YouTube. We were able to get the setup a little better so you can clearly see all of us this week. We're just going to keep making it better and better each week. Remember to go vote on the KLPR 911 Twitter poll question, who would look best in a dress. I'm begging you to vote, please. Anyways, it's time to do pick'ems. Let's go over last week. Winning the week was Jon and Traeton with a record of 3-3. Both Alex and Ethan went 2-4. Total records on the year, I'm still in first place with a record of 19-21. Traeton is in second place with a record of 16-24. Alex is in third place with a record of 14-26, and Ethan McCormick rounding out the bottom with his record of 12-28.
Abysmal. I stink at this. Okay.
Nobody take betting advice from me.
Yeah, but never. If you ask for my picks on games on any sport, ask someone else. There's someone better out there.
All right, let's get into our pick'ems. We have some close lines this week. I picked all of our lines are 3.5 points or less. No Nebraska game to pick this week. No, that's actually not true. Nebraska at the bye week. The bye week is favored by 7.
Who's the starting quarterback? Is it Heinrich Harburg or?
Heinrich Harburg will be starting against the bye week, so we'll see how the Huskers do. But anyways, let's.
I like Harburg in this one.
Against the bye week now.
Of course.
Oregon is at Washington. Washington is a 3-point favorite. The battle for the Pacific North.
PNW, yeah.
Yeah. Pacific Northwest battle. Oregon at Washington. Washington is a 3-point favorite at home.
Am I going first, or since I'm last?
I would go for it.
All right.
You pick, and then we'll do the opposite of you.
I'm going to go Oregon. I think Oregon's got a better defense. I really have nothing to lose at this point. I've kind of conceded to the fact that I will not win anything when it comes to picking games this season, so give me Oregon.
It's a high-powered Husky attack on offense, but the Oregon Ducks are also high-powered on offense. Alex is putting the hat on. Who's the favorite?
Washington by 3.
Ooh.
That might only be because it's a home game for Washington, too.
It's a home game for Washington.
It is a home game.
All right, give me Oregon.
But see, I haven't paid that much attention to either of these schools. I'm more paid attention to their state university counterparts for the Pac-2. So, Oregon State.
Washington, Wazoo, and yeah.
Yeah, go Cougs, by the way. Give me Washington. I don't know who to pick in this.
To cover?
I like Washington. Sure, yeah, it's a 3-point spread.
Yeah, I think Michael Penix is a dark horse for the Heisman. I think he's been really, really good this year. Interesting to note, both teams have not currently played a team that is currently ranked. Colorado was ranked, but both these teams have had cupcakes of schedules, and so we'll see how they do up against each other. Kansas State is at Texas Tech, little Big 12 action. Texas Tech is a 1.5-point favorite at home.
Give me Texas Tech to cover. K-State, the way they lost on Friday against Oklahoma State is rather concerning. And right now, the doom and gloom around Aggieville is rather concerning for me. So give me from my. It's one of those picks where my heart says EMA, but my brain says Tech covers.
Will Howard threw 3 interceptions against Oklahoma State last Friday.
Yeah, that's why I'm going Texas Tech.
Texas Tech at home at Jones AT&T Stadium. Give me Texas Tech, and I'm gonna take them to cover.
Well, it's a 1.5 point spread. So
Yeah,
it's
easy cover.
It's
for
an
Texas
easy
Tech,
cover
yeah.
there.
Texas Tech, believe it or not, they're going to cover.
Watch Texas Tech somehow no cover this.
They're
like
gonna win it
28
like
See,
They're
20.
going to win 21-20.
Watch that.
I think this could be the kind of game where Kansas State bounces back,
Yeah,
but
you can say that on every game. It's a Big 12.
That's
That
very
is true.
But I'm going to take Texas Tech to cover as well, mainly because that's what the masses is going with. So, Florida's at South Carolina. The Gamecocks are a 2-point favorite at home.
Man, this is.
I told you, I got some good ones this week.
Well,
Go Gators.
You're picking Florida?
I'll pick Florida.
Okay.
They're going to lose by a lot.
give me South Carolina to cover.
I like it.
The University of Florida system president is none other than former Nebraska Senator Ben Sass.
What does
Saw
that have to
that
do with the
coming.
game?
I wanted to throw that out there to remind everybody, since we're going to be looking for a president here real soon. Bye, Ted. Give me South Carolina to cover.
So giggly over there.
Sorry.
Anyways, after all of that, when you look at Florida and who they've played this season, they do have some good wins. However, they had a really bad loss against Kentucky.
Yeah.
They bounced back against Vanderbilt.
But it's Vanderbilt.
Oh, they bounced back against Vanderbilt. They had a bye
Yeah,
week.
exactly. So South Carolina covers
would
at
lose.
home. I like what they've done this year.
Go Gators.
To be fair, I think Nebraska would lose to Vanderbilt.
Nah. Nebraska would defeat Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt's in the SEC, mind you.
Yeah, but it's Vanderbilt. There are reasons that that just kind of give me the vibe that Vanderbilt's like they're the bane of college football.
Next game.
USC is at Notre Dame.
Oh, here we go.
Another top-ranked matchup. Notre Dame is a 3-point favorite at home against an abysmal defense in USC.
3 straight times Notre Dame's played on prime time in some aspect or on some channel. Give me USC, though.
It's because they're the only football team on Peacock, so they can
Yeah.
flex them whenever they want.
Yeah.
Well, they played on ABC last week against Louisville,
Yeah, still.
and they lost.
Yeah,
Oh, they did lose?
They did
That's the
lose.
game I lost, huh?
I did.
Yep.
Do you watch football?
No, I really don't.
Do you?
This one.
You know how I feel about Notre Dame.
All right, USC for Alex
Yep.
it is.
Give me the Trojans. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because I can't stand Notre Dame.
Traeton?
John, this one's tough. I'm going to tell you what, man.
Tell you what.
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell
Son of
you
a gun,
what.
man.
Tell me.
Give me the Irish.
I like it.
The fighting?
The Fighting Irish.
I go back and forth
I don't know if I
because
like it, but it's what I feel.
Okay.
I go back and forth because Notre Dame's offense has not looked good these last 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
However, USC's off defense is terrible. You look at the last couple games, you let Arizona State, who isn't even able to compete in a bowl game this year, even if they made it, which when their coach got mad about that, the fact that they couldn't make it, I'm like, dude, you thought you were?
Wait. Is that an NCAA
Dang,
thing there?
Shots
It
fired.
might have been. I think it might have been enforced from the
School.
school. I think it was. That's what it was.
Okay. I knew there was something, but I knew
yeah.
it wasn't NCAA handed down.
I
'Cause
think it was
received
school.
anything from
They
it.
gave up 41 to Colorado without Travis Hunter.
Ooh.
They go to overtime with Arizona, 43-41. However, they have Caleb Williams. They will win this football game. Give me USC.
They're going to lose two games.
I want to point out Caleb Williams' stat line real quick. 1,822 yards. He's thrown 22 touchdowns and 1 pick.
Yeah, look at who he's played, though.
That's true, but still, I mean, that's quite the stat line.
Wait till he faces this Notre Dame D.
USC is eventually going
I'll
to
feel
get.
They're
differently.
going to get ran.
They're
down.
eventually going to get out Caleb Williams.
I hope so.
It could be against, like, Washington. Or,
Well, it happened against Tulane last year, so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Miami is at North Carolina. North Carolina 3.5-point favorite. Miami had a chance in their last game to kneel the game down. They decide to run the football. They fumble the ball. They lose the game to Georgia Tech. I'm going to go first because I hate Miami. North Carolina will cover.
I think, you know what? I'm going to go with John. I hate Miami. That was so much fun to see. Georgia Tech is like the bottom of the barrel behind pretty much Boston College.
Hey, Boston College. No,
Sit down.
They suck. They do. But they're
Sit
a very
down.
good Jesuit academic power.
I know they
Sit
were
down.
close with La Tech, and we played close with La Tech. So actually, Boston College is good, guys.
See?
Hey, well, they beat Nebraska. Give me North Carolina to cover.
North Carolina covers.
Thank you,
No one's picking the U. Even if they win, I won't feel
Alex.
bad
Pick
about
the
it.
U.
What?
Please.
No. North Carolina, they're going to cover.
All right.
How
UC.
How could you pick Miami after their egregious way that they played last week and they lost?
Because they're gonna bounce back.
I just love the player on the sideline with no mic. What are we doing?
He's like
Yeah.
crying too.
Yeah.
There's no crying in football.
I'd lose too if I lost to Georgia Tech.
That's true. UCLA is at Oregon State. Oregon State is a 3.5-point favorite at home. This is a ranked matchup. I think this is going to be a really good game. What do we all think in the table?
Oregon State wins by 13.
Wow.
I'm not even going to try to pronounce this quarterback's last name, but we'll call him DJU for now. I believe
It's the former Clemson quarterback.
I believe I called him DJ Ukulele earlier this year, and we'll just stick with that. But yeah, I'm gonna go Oregon State cover.
You mean ukulele?
There's no.
I don't think that's how it's said.
No, that's not how it's pronounced. There's no K.
Oh. See, I didn't know
I just
okay
say
then.
ukulele because I just don't know how to pronounce it. We don't need a pronunciation. Make
No,
your pick.
no. I'm gonna do the pronunciation here real quick.
Make your pick.
Oh, yeah, this is what it is. Angulale.
Ungulale.
Uli Angulale.
Okay.
Where's the N?
Uli Ang.
Oh, Ong.
Uyangale.
Is
that it?
Uyangale.
Okay.
Angale.
Ongale.
Angale.
Alex.
Yuli Ungale.
Make your pick.
Who does he play for?
Oregon
Beavers.
State.
You know what? Give me Ula Ungale and Oregon State. They're gonna cover.
I feel like we get canceled for this.
Yeah. Anyways, looking
He's a
at
good quarterback.
He is. He's
looking
great.
at comparable opponents, UCLA lost to Utah 14-7. Oregon State beat Utah 21-7. Give me Oregon State to win at home. They will cover. Final game of the Pick'ems. Nebraska is at the bye week. 7-point favorites. What do we think, gentlemen?
Bye week cover. This is a ranked matchup between two bottom. Or I don't even know how to spin this. This is a bottom of the barrel matchup. Nebraska's been historically abysmal against bye weeks. Last year we lost 69-0 against the bye week, and I think Heinrich Harburg. This is the week he gets benched for Jeff Seminator Sims.
Do I really have to make a pick for this? Is
Yes.
this a real
Oh,
thing?
no, this is definitely a real thing. I don't know how we're going to judge it, but it will be judged.
Tristan Alvano comes through in the final seconds of the bye week and secures the victory for the Huskers.
Dang, Nebraska
score?
backdoor cover.
Final score?
Oh, yeah, final score? What's
Final score, Nebraska 3 bye week 0.
Wow. Okay.
I like,
Defense is gonna play
I like some
phenomenally.
defense. Yeah, that's what Matt Rule said in his press conference earlier this week. We're going to run the football and we're going to stop the run.
Versus Michigan.
I was about to say the big thing for me is the injuries. You lose another key player in the
Marcus
Illinois
Washington.
game, and Marcus Washington. That was a tough one to watch. But if I was about to say, I truly think it's on injuries. If you have another debilitating injury, the bye week wins this week. If you are Nebraska. However, if you exit the bye week healthy, Nebraska wins. I'm going to say that they're going to win and that Nebraska covers.
Didn't they announce an injury literally this weekend?
Yeah, it was Marcus
Yeah,
Washington.
it was Marcus Washington. He got
Yeah,
injured
that's
in
part of the bye week. So
No,
already,
he got-
bye week
He
has
tore
taken.
it
No,
on Friday.
he tore it during the Illinois game.
But it was announced
It's
during the bye
when
week.
and not
It's
when it's announced.
when it happens, not the announcement.
Okay.
The
Don't try
way, the
to-
way that Rule made it sound in the post game, it sounded like he was done. And
It was
wasn't-
pretty
an ACL
obvious
tear.
about
Well, this is
So
a good segue. That was actually something Coach Rule mentioned this week. Oh, also, only one of us picked Notre Dame. Tyler Cavalli in the YouTube comment section says Notre Dame easy win over USC. Easy win, says Tyler Cavalli. Tyler, thanks for joining in on the fun of the YouTube stream. We got 6 people watching. 7.
Whoa!
Reaching
7
new
people.
heights at KLPR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sponsorships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We can have sponsorships, but if you want to buy
I
underwriting.
don't even know if you can talk about it. Now we're in trouble, Traeton.
Oh, no.
Look what you've done.
He always says sponsored by a Honey Stinger, and we can't say that because it's
Yeah, that we actually can't say.
Hey, I did that last year
was also,
accidentally once on air, but I did it a lot on Twitter. And doing it on Twitter is okay.
That's true.
Actually, no, excuse me, X. It's called X now, and we should
It's
respect
still
Elon Musk's
Twitter.com.
wishes.
It is still Twitter.com.
Anyway,
Yes,
if you want
but
to buy
the man has
underwriting,
rebranded the thing to be X. I mean, look at his profile picture.
Reach out to me if you want to buy underwriting.
reach out to
by
Ethan
the way.
McCormick.
Please
Buy
vote on
underwriting.
Twitter poll. It's getting
McCormick
worse.
E.
Go vote on Twitter poll at
At
KLPR911.
EZMC37 if
At
you want to.
EZMC37 on Twitter if you want to buy.
Ooh, Cade Moore's watching too. He says he agrees.
Cade.
Hi, Cade.
Oh, also, that reminds me, since we have people interacting on the YouTube chat, we also have a number to call in.
that on there?
You can check it on the ticker, 308-865-8217, 308-865-8217. It should be on there unless you took it off. So, yeah, feel free to call in on the fun. We can't give away the Twitter poll results yet, so we can't read that comment.
I don't know how dress sizes work. I'm kind of disappointed that nobody wants to see me. I'm just gonna say that right now.
Do we want to talk about how it's going yet? Should we break our rule here?
No,
No.
Nah, just go to KLPR 911, then vote, and then you can find out because you'll know why one of us is sweating bullets right now.
And I'm disappointed.
I think I'd rather do the haunted maze that Ethan has to do than do this. You want to swap?
How much you want to pay me to do that?
The
Because
fact that you
I'll
don't-
swap it. I'll swap it. I'll swap it. All right. No, we'll make a deal.
A deal.
We'll make a deal, but
Play
we'll
the
wait
draft
until the
side.
Twitter.
All
We'll
right,
wait
all
until
right.
it closes.
Yeah, because we can see a late surge. You never know. But yeah, Nebraska football. They won, I guess. You know, it's Illinois. So.
True, yeah.
Wait, no, that's hypocritical of me because I got on Ethan last week about
That
not selling.
is.
Yeah, no, they won. Let's go,
Tristan
Big
Albano,
Red. We're
baby.
500, baby. Let's go.
Are we?
Go
3-3?
Huskers.
Yeah.
We're 3-3. Whoa!
Sloppy win,
Yeah,
but a win's a
second
win.
half.
A win is a win. That's right. That's how we're going to be
half-
optimists now.
Yeah,
was-
glass half full, right, John?
Glass half full.
Yeah.
You're darn
Yep.
tootin'.
The second half was one that made me start questioning if I needed to get blood pressure medication because of the way it was going. But nonetheless, I mean, if we would have done that against teams such as,
We got a caller.
if we would have gone up against a different team, it would have been a situation where that would not have gone our way, where second half collapse.
Caller, you're on Throwin Lopes. What's up?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Not too bad. Who are you, and what would you like to talk about?
Grant from St. Paul.
Grant,
I don't like
how
radio
are
right
you,
there.
buddy? It's good to hear
Oh,
you.
man. They should be
Doing all
calling.
right.
The headset
I-
thing doesn't work over here.
What would you like to talk
headset
about?
never works, Traeton. I want to go over my reasoning of voting for John on the Twitter poll question.
I love it, Grant. Let's
Let us-
hear it.
let
Yeah,
us
Let's
sure.
let's
Go
get
ahead.
it.
Okay. Well, obviously, it's who I want to see in a dress the most.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to see Traeton in a dress because he's engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan has a girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see him in a dress either. And I just straight up don't want to see Alex in a dress. So
Thank you
I
very
guess
much,
it's
Tiggy.
gotta be
I
John.
don't want to see myself in a dress
Were you-
either.
What was this just an opportunity for you to call in and make sure that everybody knows that I'm lonely, Grant? Is this what we're doing here?
Yep.
I appreciate that, buddy.
Hey, he didn't say I'm single. He just said he didn't want to see me in a dress.
You're
Well,
still
then
single,
you
though.
kind of just inferred it there.
Well, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, it's inferred because it was engaged and dating someone and don't want to see in a dress.
Yeah.
It's kind of inferred there.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if you guys want to see it, I guess that's what we're gonna get next week again. Whoever wins it's not really winning this Twitter poll. You're basically losing this Twitter poll. Grant, I think you got out of this show at the right time.
I definitely did. I would not have survived this poll question. So it would have been like the
Ethan
music
also
one.
he has to walk through a haunted maze coming up.
Yeah, I do have to do that.
That's you guys need to take a video of that. That sounds
That's
like
what we're
great
trying to figure out.
KLPR
Yeah.
Can't.
We could find something to do.
We'll try
for that.
something.
Yeah.
We'll mic him up.
Ethan
Just take
That
the
would
audio.
is like
Just
the
take the
one
audio.
guy I would. Ethan's like the one guy I would want to actually see go through a haunted maze.
Oh yeah, you remember what
You
happened on the
get
top of
scared
the
easily,
top of the
buddy.
Eiffel Tower? He was terrified.
Yeah.
He was
Poppy
standing
was
like
on
on
stage
the
building.
back of the bridge.
That was a terrifying experience.
He was like, "I'll get my picture with the background, and then I am leaving."
Did
That
you say
was-
the Eiffel Tower, Statue of Liberty?
Oh, no, wait, not the Statue of Liberty. No, the
the
Empire State.
Yeah, we went through different landmarks before we got to
Eiffel Tower, Statue of Liberty, and then we got to it.
Fellas, Las Vegas is the only place that has all three.
Oh, road trip to
What was
Vegas.
that?
John just
I want to go to Vegas, man.
lost himself right there. But yeah, I will go through the haunted
Yeah.
maze.
Well, Grant, we appreciate the call, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I like the YouTube a lot more than TuneIn. So
Yeah.
keep doing that. That's been awesome.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words, Grant. Thanks as always.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye.
Grant, former co-host on this show. Always great to hear from him. You are running out of time to vote. It is about over in the Twitter poll question. We will go over those results here momentarily. And also, you have 6 minutes left if you want to now call in after you saw our own Grant Ty do so. 308-865-8217.
I feel like somebody else should call in and justify why they voted.
Somebody
Somebody
else,
other than
please.
John. Somebody other than John.
Why?
Someone told me I was awkward on the YouTube chat.
No,
That was Nolan.
Nolan?
Our other sales guy.
He misspelled my name.
Yeah, he did. He needs to take out the H.
You can. It's literally on the ticker, Nolan.
Yeah.
It's like I've gotten emails back before too. Like, you know how your
Dr.
email.
John. Wait, no.
No,
you know
no,
when
no,
you know when
okay,
your
no.
you know when your email says your name on it,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
people respond with
They still
JOHN. I'm like,
screw
what
it
are we
up.
doing? Just look at the name, you know.
People are idiots.
Well,
It-
hey, oh.
If I don't care about it, but
It would be nice to
it'd be
feel-
nice for people to get it right.
You know, if people just keep doing that, you just don't respond to their emails. If they do not have enough respect to get your name and spell it right in the email, then they don't deserve your time.
I think I just blame my parents for naming me this way.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding. I love you, Mom and Dad.
You really throwing Josh under the bus there, dang.
Legend.
Hey, okay,
Well,
think about
Josh wanted to call me Brett, I think. One of my parents wanted to call me Brett after Brett Favre.
I don't know what's.
It's
well,
like
okay.
it's like Tyler, my roommate Tyler, is a big Commanders fan. He wants to name his kid Terry after Terry McLaurin.
That's horrible.
Yeah, I was supposed to be Brett.
I'm gonna name my kid.
Which after everything he's done, I'm
No,
glad
Pete.
it didn't.
Can I ask the three of you at least one thing when you have kids? Please name them a name that is simple that you can find on like the key like a keychain rack at some tourist trap.
Shatheed.
No.
See, I'm in the ballpark.
I'm thinking Aaron.
I was the
Aaron.
kid that.
Here's how you spell Shatheed.
All right, we can stop that right now. The way I see it is, whoever my kids are going to have two parents with names that never got to experience the keychains. So I don't think they deserve the keychains because
You don't think so?
it was a growth moment in our lives.
Ethan,
That's how you do it.
Anyway.
that. I don't think you can legally name your kid that here in the United States. I think there are
Oh,
laws
it's that
against
skit.
that.
Yeah, I know what
That's
he's
the vibe.
talking about.
Thank God
yeah,
you
yeah,
knew what I was
yeah.
talking about there.
Anyway,
There are laws against this, I think, in these United States of America.
No, I think that's a good reference. Now that I get it,
It is,
I just
yeah.
didn't get it at first.
Thank you for someone understanding.
But not naming your kids like River and then the spelling is
Shatheed.
RYVER or you know
Thank you for understanding.
or okay. This is the other thing I haven't understood. Why are kids naming their kids? Why are people naming their kids Jameson after the whiskey? That I've never understood.
I'm gonna name my
I don't.
kid Guinness.
I don't think the first thing they think when they're naming their kid is like, oh no, it's going to be named like they don't.
no, they name it.
what?
They spell their name Jacob, but it's like
Jake-
JAIKUB with an E at the end.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I mean, like
Jacoby.
I feel like I'm a very libertarian. But when it comes to stuff like this, I think there needs to be an actual national
Every
law in the
time
books
something
about
like this in the last 3 minutes of the show.
Yeah, that's
every
what-
time.
I mean, Grant loves it. Terry Jensen, lol.
Terry Jensen,
Gonna
yeah.
start emailing Alex by spelling.
What do you guys?
it
What would you guys think
ALYX.
of Brett Willis?
Horrible.
Brett
Horrible.
Willis.
I
Brett
wouldn't
Willis.
mind.
Do I fit
I
the
do
build of a
mind.
Brett Willis?
No.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Brett Willis. Glad to have you along.
Well, good morning from Hastings. Brett Willis with you from.
Maybe that can just be your on-air name.
Well,
I
I think
don't
it's
see
too
it.
late now. I've been on air too much as Jon Willis.
No,
It's
no,
only been on air
no,
Caribbean
John,
for a year and a half.
Well, okay, what you'd have to
Two.
do,
Yeah. Sorry.
what you'd have to do is you have to
Whoa.
move to a completely
Celebrated my
different time
2-year
zone.
anniversary recently. Thank
But you
very
could do
much.
it. You could relatively actually do it. You just have to like move to a completely different state where nobody knows you and nobody knows your Jon Willis history.
Everyone knows who Jon Willis is in this country.
Yeah. Everybody knows who Jon Willis is in Nebraska.
John, I think it's time for a Twitter poll answer, isn't it?
It is. Who would look best in a dress? Winner/loser gets to wear a dress next week. In fourth place is Traeton with 3% of the votes.
Disappointed.
Nobody
actually.
wanted to see Traeton. Ethan finishes in third place with 23% of the votes. Alex is in second with 26%. And I have won this week's Twitter poll question with 48% of the votes. So I guess I will be wearing a dress next week.
Woo! Let me see that body!
You have all of fall break to find one on the clearance rack somewhere.
I will say, there is someone that would be willing to donate a dress for you, John.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, you did take care of that?
Yeah.
You got it?
I did.
We'll explore some options.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
I want it to
have
be
a
a
couple
pretty dress.
donated.
I don't want it to be an ugly, like, funny dress. I want it to be pretty.
Yeah.
To be pretty?
Yes.
I want John to be borderline in a wedding dress come next Wednesday.
Or a prom dress. I want to see him in a skin-tight prom dress.
I think we need to have you walk in on camera next week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Like you're
yeah.
walking down the aisle.
So,
I like this idea.
tune in on our YouTube next week to see that. So
After fall break.
that'll be happening, I guess. All right, that'll wrap up the show. Thanks for tuning in. For Traeton Harimon, Ethan McCormick, Alex Hammeke, I've been Jon Willis, and you've been listening to Throwin Lopes right here on 91.1 KLPR and watching along on our YouTube.